Winter 24-14 Detroiters speak. This evening we have an especially exciting treat for you. Not only are we being live streamed, hey Ann Arbor, not only are we being live streamed, but we are going to have an incredible performance here by some of our very own U of M students. I want to thank Dr. Adele Anderson. We're in her house at U of M Detroit Center. She feeds us and she provides. It's a wonderful place to have our speaker series. And I want to introduce you to Craig Register. He's the Associate Director of this whole shebang year, Semester in Detroit. Semester in Detroit students, raise your hands, do the wave. You're living and learning in Detroit during this winter term. And then we have some Ann Arbor students and Ann Arbor people who rode the bus in to join us. So, all right, we're all here and accounted for. So this evening, we are going to have some selected scenes from the Spirit of Detroit play, which most of you know covers the Algiers Motel incident during the 1967 rebellion. Kate Mendeloff is our RC faculty, residential college faculty. She was unable to be here this evening. She's the director of the play, and I just wanted to let you know who the person is who's directing this play. Kate Mendeloff has been active in several major areas in her work in Michigan. She teaches American drama, contemporary plays about gender issues, Greek drama, and modern adaptation, and Chekhov and Ibsen. She's also the artistic director of Shakespeare in the Ark, environmental staging of plays in the universities, Nichols Arboretum since 2001. Another important aspect of her work is the RC Community Theater Collaborative, which places students in community sites where they use the arts in support of literacy and self-expression for underserved populations. All right, I've got a lot of stuff in my hands here, so just let me give you just a little bit of backdrop about the history of the Detroit Rebellion for those of you who may need a little bit of refresher. The 1967 Detroit Riot Rebellion, also known as the 12th Street Riot, was a civil disturbance in Detroit, Michigan that began in the early morning hours of Sunday, July 23, 1967. The precipitating event was a police raid of an unlicensed after-hours bar, then known as the Blind Pig, on the corner of 12th, today Rose Parks Boulevard, and Claremont Streets on the city's near west side. Police confrontations with patrons and observers on the street evolved into one of the deadliest and most destructive riots in U.S. history, lasting 5 days and surpassing the violence and property destruction of Detroit's 1943 race riot. To help end the disturbance, Governor George Romney ordered the Michigan National Guard into Detroit. President Lyndon Johnson sent in federal troops. The result was 43 dead, 467 injured, and over 7,200 arrests, and more than 2,000 buildings destroyed. The most documented event of police brutality was the Algiers Motel incident. 3 young African-American men were found dead in a motel at Woodward and Virginia Park, known for prostitution. A police confession to the shooting was later covered up. The journalist John Hershey published a book about the case in 1968. Okay. I want to set up a little bit what you're going to see tonight in terms of the play. The playwright is Mercilly M. Jenkins, and the Spirit of Detroit is a new play by her that tells the story of 2 people, Anthony, a black man, and Lucy, a white woman, who returned to Detroit after a long absence to find a very different city. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have some selected scenes. I have to warn you that there might be some strong language. So the scenes that we're going to present today will begin with the interrogation of the 2 main characters. The characters are Mary Naum, a senior arts management and social work student at University of Michigan. She's playing Lucy, and she's a former semester in Detroit student. Phil Rice is a junior, and he's an acting major, and he's playing Anthony. Nick Shaheen is a freshman and film major, and he's playing a policeman. Sam McMullen is a freshman, a biochemistry and politics and philosophy major, and he's going to play the National Guardsman. So with that, I think that just about does it, right? Okay, take it away, actors.
All right. Day one, Sunday, July 23rd, 1967. Where were you when the riot started? State your name for the record.
Anthony Randazzo. I was into building what they call slot cars, and I was doing that with this Jamaican guy who actually ran a racetrack, and I was deeply in love with his daughter, so that made it more interesting. But anyway, we used to race our slot cars in the suburbs, and their cars were faster because their dads would help me, and they had more money, and I was really getting into it. And he taught me how to build and everything, and he liked me, and his daughter liked me, but his wife hated me. So that made it difficult. So in order for me to have any type of relationship, he bring it to work, and he trusts me that much, and he liked me and everything, so that was a great experience. It was nice.
Lucy McIntyre. I was driving my Aunt Jo home after Sunday dinner, and I usually take her home because she lives on the west side, and she'd sit around before dinner and shorten my skirts for the next school year. Every year, shorter and shorter, and plus I get to drive my dad's new car, a beautiful Mustang. Oh, so nice.
But anyway, we had a race, a Raj, that's her father. He goes outside and sees guys breaking windows and all this kind of stuff, so he says, let's go. Let's get the hell out and get you guys home.
So about halfway there, I start to see smoke, and at first I just think it's a fire or something, but then it seems kind of big, like a lot of smoke. So after I drop her off, I turn on the radio.
You're listening to WXYZ Soul City Motown, Motor City, Detroit. The Tigers are beating the Yankees 8-7, but we've got some trouble on the west side that seems to be spreading east.
Oh, shit.
Roger takes Mario home in my slot car too, so we can take the Wilbur bus, because we don't live in the same direction, and I don't know what's happening where, and I'm waiting and thinking, should I call my parents? But I don't want to miss the bus calling on the payphone. Finally it comes.
So I decide to take another route to avoid where the trouble is, and I do that real well, but then suddenly I don't know where I am, and I don't recognize the neighborhood, and it's starting to get dark. I'm getting this creepy feeling I'm not supposed to be here.
And I start thinking, no sweat. The buses are running, I'm going to get home before my mom even knows, and start worrying.
So I don't notice at first, but this guy is sneaking up on my car, and lucky I hit my window shut because of the smoke, but then, shit.
Get out of your car and you'll be fine.
Leave me alone. Get away.
The door, open up. Get out of your car.
I can't. What am I supposed to do out there?
Not my problem, bitch. Don't make me shoot this gun off in your face. It's your turn to walk.
The light changes, but the car in front of me doesn't move, and there's a car behind me, but I swerve forward and go to the right and through the red light and get the hell out of there. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking so much I can't drive, so I pull over after I see they aren't noticing me. Oh my God. A group of black kids walks by and looks in my direction, but then they just keep on walking. I'm afraid in my own city. Afraid of black people just walking by. No, I'm not. Okay, I should just go to someone's front door and ask for help. Okay. Police! Police, hey, stop! Help me! Thanks a lot. God damn it.
Then the bus just stops.
Everybody out here, I'm sorry, but the radio dispatcher says there's trouble on the route and we can't get through.
Everybody's getting upset. Hey, can't you go around it or something? Take another route?
Nope, there's no other way around it. You all better stop arguing and get off the bus and start walking to the nearest safe place you can find.
Damn! It's that bad already. Things seem almost normal, except there are too many of us walking in more of a hurry to get things done. And I wonder, will the trouble catch up with me, or will I walk right into it? Maybe a riot is just like getting the chicken pox. It starts with one little spot. You can tell yourself it's nothing, then there's a few more, and pretty soon you're covered with spots and down with the fever. You're burning up. And all along, this virus has been there just underneath the surface of the skin, waiting to erupt. That's what this city feels like right now.
Fried chicken at the Oasis. Day 2, July 24th.
Excuse me, is anyone sitting there you mind?
No, help yourself.
You seen a guy out here swimming?
Yeah, a little while ago. He was good. Wish I had my bathing suit, I would have joined him.
That's Aubrey, he's a nice guy. I just met him here.
Yeah, he seemed nice. Likes to swim almost as much as I do.
You a college girl.
Yeah, I'm about to be at U of M. How about you? Don't say Michigan State.
No, not me. I'm not going to college, I'm going to the Air Force.
Why? Want to go to Vietnam?
Not really, but my draft number is low, and I'd rather do Air Force than Army.
Yeah, guess so.
Things seem to have been quieting down some now. I hope this thing's about to be over. I gotta get home.
The mayor's office says it'll soon be business as usual, but I'm getting the feeling it's not over yet. You stuck here too?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't usually hang out here any more than I bet you do, you know?
Right, sorry. Your parents know you're here?
Not really. I think I'm at Cousin Leroy's, but it's too crowded over there. I'm just waiting here so I can get home somehow, walk, ride the bus, catch a ride, something like that when things calm down.
Yeah, wish I could give you a ride, but I don't know if my car will be where I left it when this is all over.
What kind of car you got?
A dark green Mustang?
Ooh, sweet! I might not see that again.
Yeah, of course it's not really mine. It belongs to my dad, and I'll probably never get to drive it again if I ever get home.
Why don't you drive it to the motel parking lot so you can keep an eye on it yourself?
I kind of panicked last night when this guy tried to hijack my car, and I just ran over here.
No shit! Oh, excuse me.
Please. I hear worse when I'm talking to myself. I got away though. Went through a red light, swerved around to another car, and got the hell out of there, but then I lost it. I couldn't keep driving.
Hey, I'm impressed. You're okay, that's the main thing. Now, at least I didn't get the car. Hey, I could, or better yet, go get it for you.
Thanks, but that's okay.
No, you can trust me. I'll bring it right here. Maybe after a little test drive is all. Hey, I'm no car thief. I do drive slot cars.
Oh, great. Not a chance. You're probably a speed demon. You could maybe go with me, but definitely not drive the car.
Okay, I understand it being your daddy's car. But don't worry. Somebody's probably looking after it right now.
Yeah, or it's long gone or on fire.
I know. Last night I wondered if they were going to burn the whole city down.
Yeah, then what are we going to do? Move to Grosse Pointe?
That's what they're worried about now that we come to get them.
So why don't we? Just come walking up to their front doors all peaceful like, love that neighbor, let us in. I know you've got room.
What? You don't want to live with your black brother? What kind of Christian are you?
Yeah, you know even Jesus could move to Grosse Pointe because he's Jewish?
But the mafia? No, put out no.
Yeah, you gotta think big as a criminal.
Have big money.
Then you can live in a house on Lakeshore Drive.
Oh yeah, my friend's mom used to work in one of those big fancy houses, and you would go there sometimes. And one day you overheard his mama and the lady in the house talking like this. Mrs., I'm going to have the day off tomorrow. Why do you need the day off? I have to go downtown, Mrs. Why is that? I have to go because it's push day. What's push day? Oh, that's where you walk down the sidewalk and you push white people in the street.
What? Does that actually happen?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not anymore. Don't worry. I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean to offend you.
No, I'm glad to know it. I just can't imagine. I mean, I live in the city.
Look, I just thought it was funny. You know the whole Grosse Pointe thing? I didn't mean anything against you or anybody.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Maybe next time you can tell me when I have one of those days.
No, seriously, forget it, please. That was a stupid story
No,
to tell
it's
right
fine, really.
now. You got food?
Got a Coke and a candy bar. Why?
Oh, come on. I know we can get something better. I made some friends and they got a refrigerator and a hot plate. We can just hang out if you want to.
I don't know.
You'll like them. 3 of them are in the singing group, the Dramatics. You heard of them?
I don't know. Maybe it sounds familiar.
They always keep a room here when they play the Fox.
They're playing the Fox Theater?
Sure are. Come on, I'll introduce you. Hear some of the music. They got a portable record player.
Well, as long as you don't get the wrong idea. I mean, I've met some of the other girls here, and they're really
No,
nice.
no, nothing like that. I'm a nice church-going guy. Not like those no accounts in the suburbs. You probably know the type.
Yeah. Remind me to tell you about the nice Catholic boy who I ended up at 6 a.m. Mass with, who still had beers in his coat pocket.
Now, see, Methodists don't do that.
That's because you don't have church that early.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you that. So, you coming?
Well, it's getting too hot out here, and I'm real tired of my room. So, sure, let's see yours, especially if you got food. What do you got?
We got donuts and chips and my eyes.
Don't say fried chicken.
Well, this is a good stereotype. I mean, it tastes good.
Okay, fine. Take me to the fried chicken. I'm so hungry.
And maybe later we can go get that car.
Maybe. My bathing suit's in the car. Does that sound bad? You want to go swimming during a riot?
No. We just staying off the street like we're supposed to.
You've got an answer for everything, don't you?
Hey, maybe I should go to college too.
You should. You don't really want to support that war machine, do you?
You hate the police.
What was going on inside? We were just hanging out in the rooms, eating snacks, drinking Cokes, listening to music. Aubrey had this portable 45 record player. Laughing, talking, even singing. I thought, oh boy, I'm singing with the Dramatics, and they were so good. People were just going from room to room having fun.
I think there's a dice game going on in one, but I didn't go in there. When all of a sudden they busted in, guns and rifles drawn, police and National Guard. One of them shoots the record player and we all freeze.
Well, well, well. What have we here? A little black on white party.
Now, officer, we're just passing the time till we can get out of here when you all restore order.
All right, everybody, up on the wall. Let's go. Don't worry about him. He's coming too.
Up against the wall, legs apart, hands above your head. Said up against the wall, spread eagle. All right, ladies. Or should we call you ladies? I don't think so, considering the company you keep. Clientele at this establishment. Let's see you strip. You need to make sure you're not concealing any weapons. Hey, why you gotta fuck them anyway? What's wrong with us?
I'm not doing anything with anyone. I'm a virgin. You can't.
Oh! Well, that would be a first here at the Algiers. Don't worry. We can take care of that. Or would you like to see one of your boyfriends shot?
He's not my. Please don't hurt anyone.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Maybe it's true love. What do you think?
All right, where are your guns? Who was shooting? All right, we'll find out. Hey, check the rooms and see if what's out on the roof.
Why are you hurting us? We haven't
Shut
done anything.
up, you nigger-loving bitch, or you'll be doing more than taking off your clothes. We have a report of a sniper at this location. We're here to check it out. We're not taking any shit from white trash or niggers. Got it?
First, we're gonna play the knife game. Turn around. Pick it up. Go on. Pick it up.
No, no, sir.
No! Refusing to cooperate with an officer of the law is a serious offense. Now pick it up, so I can blow your fucking head off.
I want to go home.
Oh, don't we all? Yeah, I'd like to go home. Instead, I'm pulling a double shit because of niggers like you shooting at cops and firefighters trying to do their jobs.
We got 2 officers dead because of you snipers. We don't want no more of that, you understand?
Keep stripping. Come on, I want to see those little titties. I bet they're real nice, huh? How about you and me go somewhere a little more private? Just you and me. You. Take him and find out what he knows. If we don't find those guns, they'll be using them on us next.
I've never done this before. Please don't. I'm a good girl. I live in Indian Village. My dad's a doctor. I've never been here before. lights and I couldn't get home.
A war going on? I don't know what's happening out there. We've been here for days. I'm just here trying to stay out of trouble. I want to get off to the streets. The buses stopped running. I thought I'd be safer here. No, we have no guns, nothing like that. The cops were here earlier and didn't find anything but a tape recorder, which they took.
They tried to steal my car, and then I just ran over here. No, I can do it myself.
She's not my girlfriend, man. I just met her here. No, nothing like that. She's a college girl. We were just talking. You saw that when you came in. What do you want me to say?
My parents are coming for me as soon as it's safe. They already tried to come once. This can't be legal.
I got no priors. I'm clean. I don't know. Maybe nobody said anything. Okay, take it easy.
So that they call the death game. They took turns taking one of the guys on the line into a room and shooting their guns off. We didn't know, was the officer really killing him or just pretending to see if he could get another officer to actually do it to the next guy? Maybe somebody took the dare, I don't know. Something happened in there. 3 of us ended up dead, but nobody saw anything.
Do you hate the police? No. No, sir. It's better.
What have you seen here? Nothing? Good answer.
All right, time for you boys to get your black asses home. Out the back way where you belong. Start walking whatever direction you're going, hands above your head.
Don't turn around. I'll be following you all the way home.
And just like that, everybody's gone. The guys go out the back like they were told. The cops and guard take off when they realize what their buddies have done. Aubrey and 2 other guys are dead and buried. The other girls, they went upstairs and got dressed. I gotta get home. It's not safe. Shit, it's 3 in the morning. Okay, just get dressed. Get dressed. Lock the door. Hide. No, I gotta get home. I know where I am now. I know how to do it. I'll just get in my car and take the back streets. Shit, but there are police and National Guard and firefighters everywhere. Who'll even notice me? Who cares? At home, there's a German Shepherd who'll protect me to the death. Fritzy girl, here I come. I'm not waiting for them to come back or anybody else to show up.
Hey, I was hoping you'd come in.
Jesus, you scared
I'm
me.
sorry. Get in. Are you okay?
Yo, what aren't you doing here? I'm supposed to be running home.
I thought better about it. The running Negroes make too good a target tonight. And besides, I took my shoes.
What for?
Just to fuck with us, I guess.
Aubrey's dead. And his 2 other friends. There was so much blood where we had been dancing. I wanted to stop and help them, but I had to get out of there.
I know there was nothing you could do.
And the cops and guard, they all just
They
split.
probably won't even report it.
They weren't even wearing badges or name tags. I had plenty of time to look.
That's what they do. They take off the badges so they can't be identified. We're gonna be all right.
I don't know about that. I thought they were going to rape me. All of them would. Shit, but what about you? Your head. Does it hurt?
Ah, will you do that? Stop bleeding, I'll be okay.
Assholes. I do hate the police, and most especially the National
Not
Guard.
so loud. We're trying not to attract attention, remember?
Yeah, right. Sorry. We just stay here until it's light.
This area might end up crawling with National Guard and police with 3 dead bodies. But on the other hand, it's 3 dead black bodies and there's a riot going on, so maybe not. It looks like a busy night.
Damn. What for? Aubrey?
We can't think about them now. We gotta survive, and at least we can tell our story when things have calmed down and someone might listen.
You could take my car.
2 flat tires, I checked.
How do they know some hunk bitch drives this car? Black people own nice cars too.
Don't take it personal. Somebody just got mad they couldn't hotwire.
So now what, we walk?
I was thinking about that. It's too dangerous for you to go alone, but together we might also run into control because,
Yeah, no shit, I think that already happened.
but now we have a chance.
Wait. I could wrap this towel around my head and shoulders and no one will even notice me.
That could work. It'll look like you're just protecting yourself.
Yeah, and plus it'll cover up his blouse, which is ripped, saying thanks to Officer What's-His-Name. We'll find out who you are.
Yeah, I'm sorry you have to go through that.
What? You had nothing to do with it. Nobody apologizes except for them, the city of Detroit, and possibly the state of Michigan.
Maybe the mayor and the governor?
Yeah, them too. Well, let's get out of here while I'm still good and mad before I start crying again.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Stay off the main drag, walk fast, but don't run. Keep your hands visible. Stay away from shops, looters, crowds, and every few blocks we'll duck onto a porch or into a bush of grass. Get out of sight.
What if we see the cops or National Guard?
We freeze, hands up. Say we're trying to get home.
I'll say that you're helping me. My car broke down, I got lost, we live in the same neighborhood, we got ID.
Okay. This is crazy.
Yeah. You got any better ideas?
Pretend we live in a parallel universe.
Yeah, this is the Twilight Zone. Nightmare on Grand Boulevard.
I really wish we could just snap our fingers and be someplace else like last week. Because I'm tired of being scared.
Yeah, me too.
But we can do this. And our parents might like to see us in yours without the car. Mustang is just a hunk of metal anyway.
That is blasphemy. When you come from a GM family?
Actually, my dad has a Chrysler. My mama has a VW bus.
A foreign car? Curses, oh my lord, no wonder we're in so much trouble. May the American motor gods forgive you.
Amen. Just get us home. Let's go.
My cousins live here. Terry and Stevie, and this is their house.
But they're not here now, right?
No, my mom said they went to safety, but this is where we grew up, all the kids. And now it's burning. The whole block. I don't see anyone I know. I hope everyone got out okay.
I'm sure they didn't listen to me. It's not safe here. We have to keep on going.
No, I can't. Maybe I can say
You
something.
can't go near there. Come on.
But my Aunt Betty Lou raised all of her kids here. There's one who died in her crib.
We can't do anything here now. We have to go.
But this is all they had. What if our houses are burning?
I don't think it's spread that far east. We have to keep on going.
Why are they doing this? I thought this was over until tonight.
But this is the worst part, okay? We'll be fine once we get out of here.
But what good does it do to destroy the only things you
I
got?
don't think these people did the destroying. Can't you tell the difference between snipers and looters and ordinary people trying to hold on to what they got? Come on, you'll figure it out later. Sure, it's quiet over here just a few blocks away. See, we're gonna be fine. Are you okay? You seem pretty shook up back there. I'm sorry I got mad.
I understand. I think. I just didn't expect to see that. I didn't think it would be me somehow, not my family.
It's good to see the whole city isn't burning. Yeah. Get down, National Guard!
Are you okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, what was that for?
They probably saw a light coming from somewhere in that building.
I don't see any snipers.
Just because you don't see them don't mean I don't believe in them.
It sounds like someone got hit.
But we should do something!
No, we can't. It's just like before. Remember what you said? We gotta get out of here.
What the hell are we doing if we can't help
We
anybody?
can't fight the National Guard or police. What we have to do now is take care of ourselves so we can tell what happened. I can't believe this is Mac.
Man, they got the bakery.
And the Dairy Queen.
Without the cleaners, you know, old man Williams, that's black on.
What about the Chinese place?
Hey, you gotta have your head feel young. You can't burn that down.
Yeah, you can miss your ice cream too.
But maybe now we can rebuild. And there'll be more black-owned businesses. It will really feel like this is our community, not just some place we're allowed to live that's controlled by everybody else. The white police, the white businessmen, the white city government.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That would be great, but you gotta admit, there's not much left. The drugstore in the corner is gone.
This doesn't look like the same place we left 3 days ago. It looks like a charcoal drawing of some place we used to live. Look how the ashes keep the shape of some of the things that burn like that oven, but there's nothing really there. If you touch it, it will just fall apart.
Yeah, it's like the Twilight Zone after World War III.
You got a thing for Rod Serling or something?
Yeah, I want to be like him someday. You know, a writer, maybe host my own TV show, except not smoke so much. Oh, look. The store with all the best candy and little soda fountain in it. I don't know what was that.
Me either, but I sure will miss it. There's no not even get a loaf of bread.
Hey, look where we are. It's Parker Street. Oh, wonderful Parker Street. It's so beautiful and normal and green. We're almost at Indian Village.
Can you get home from here? I think I might be stopped if I try to go in.
We've gone this far.
But it looks like they bring Indian Village with tanks and paratroopers, and even if they don't have live ammunition like the National Guard, I just stay clear if you don't mind.
Yeah, right. You should know better by now. Besides, I can practically see my house. How about you?
I can feel my front porch steps and hear my mama yelling at me right now.
Okay then, love. Take care. And go to the doctor or something.
I'll be fine.
I guess it's time we started to know each other again.
Maybe so.
Friends?
Okay. Write me a story about this.
Yeah? Paint me a picture to go with it. And don't go into the Air Force if you can help it. Don't shoot, I live here.
Wow. 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 You guys hear me? Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's got a green light and it's, oh, okay. That's what we gotta do. Where should we begin with this? Why don't you tell us something about how it felt for you to revisit this through acting? I mean, what changes did you go through to be able to provide this performance? Oh, let me tell you one thing. This play will be at the Charles H. Wright Museum next weekend, beginning on Friday. Do you know the performance time?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m.
And there will be a panel discussion afterwards in which our very own Craig Register will partake in one of those days. I can't remember which day. So tell us a little bit about what it has meant for you to revisit this event through acting.
Well, I knew nothing about this before I started this production, and it's been a little bit weird being one of the, the abusive ones. That it took a little bit to get into that idea, because this is a little bit hollowed out. We usually have, when we both were looking off, I don't know if it came across, a shot was fired, someone had been taken off, and that was the incident. So usually there are a couple guys lined up and a couple girls lined up, just so you get a better picture of it. So it's a little bit difficult, saying those words and treating people like that. It's something that gets used to. Well, it's not all.
Well, that's real. I was wondering when you were using those words that, how it felt, because it's so politically incorrect.
That's acting,
Ah.
You have to do stuff sometimes, acting a lot of times puts you in sometimes at least puts you on a side of a viewpoint that you don't necessarily agree with, or it's obviously a terrible thing. But it's important that, you know, for the art, for that, the art of acting, and for, you know, for community like this, for people in general to understand what happened, and sometimes this is probably one of the best ways to showcase that. So it's necessary and it's uncomfortable, but that's the art, and that's what we have to do.
So, in part of the semester in Detroit program, you take a 20th century history of Detroit class. So I learned about the Riot Rebellion extensively. So this was very interesting for me to kind of step into it, step out of the textbook and into something that was more like actually being a part of that incident someday, or in some way. And obviously, I was not born in the 60s or alive in the 60s. So it was interesting in like getting to know the character of Lucy, finding parts that were very similar to my own belief systems, and that despite the fact Lucy is a semi-fictional character, but I imagine there were young white women at the time who felt this way, and to be able to identify with a character who lived 40 or 50 years ahead of me was a very different experience, and a very good one in terms of understanding how, for lack of a better term, horrific this event was.
For me, it was really just, putting me in the situation of dealing with injustices, based solely on skin color. So to be on the receiving end of, do you hate the police? You can kind of see, in the culture why we have the type of relationship we have with the police. You have songs like, excuse my language, but you have songs like "Fuck the Police." You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like it's revealing, why, we have that relationship. So just getting right into it, it takes your mind there, and you can kind of get a taste of how it really, how it used to be,
Oh, wow. So you're saying that the more things change, the more they stay the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it was a lot more apparent,
Yeah.
but not much has changed.
Okay. What about you in the audience? Do we have some folks who were around back then? Personally, I was too young.
The young lady who played Lucy, you said, I wish I could think of exactly how you said it, but people who think like that, the character that is. I'm curious as to how you're defining the way she thought.
Okay, so if you see the rest of the play next weekend, her character gets a little more fleshed out, but part of this character's main internal dilemmas is that she's this young white woman who started off in a predominantly black school in grade school, but then was kind of swept up into like white schools that cost money to go to, et cetera, and she kind of deals with like a lot of internal conflict regarding her own skin color and the privileges that come with being white, and her personally not holding prejudice against black people in her community and not understanding why other people do. And I'm from Metro Detroit, and race relations in the area, and also just the weird Detroit suburb divide is something that haunts me on a daily basis. And some of the things that that Lucy talks about in the play are things that I grapple with in my own head on a daily basis. So, yeah.
What about someone else here?
I really think you guys, for 2014, it's really a courageous effort to attempt to bring reality to one of the most horrific times in the history of the city. What I reflect on is being 17 and my reality in the world changed. If I could pass on something to you to really ignite your performance moving forward, the bodies were destroyed. Torsos were unrecognizable. People that you knew and you talked about could have been you. I didn't feel that it was horrific. thing that ever happened. I knew the guys that were killed, that were murdered. The police officers loved what they were doing. This was enjoyable. This was a performance. This was fun. This was celebrity performances. You could glimpse at the text that was described in Hearst's book. You would find that this wasn't fun for them, but it was torture for the onlookers. So those survivors had to be probably needed middle counseling to know that the people who were in those rooms, the screams, the slamming up against the wall, the heads, bones breaking, I mean, that was really could have been you. So I'm saying as you move forward, you want to really bring that reality in your next performances to the audience so people can understand that what was really going on in that room was no different than what was going on 450 years ago on plantations.
Good evening. And, it's good to be here. I thought that this was typically, I guess, what somebody might call a white bourgeois perspective of what happened. This is, we see this genre many times where in order to make something that's horrific more palatable to a white audience, that the story of black history has to be told from a white perspective. So we get these stereotypical white ingenue, you know, who like, you mean that's really racism? Gee! And then we have these stereotypical cops who like get to gratuitously use the N-word. And we still don't really know any damn thing about the 3 people that were killed, like the effect on their family. We still don't know anything about what was the social milieu of the city at the time. And so it's just some more, what was it, Cry Freedom, and then Stephen Biko was in the movie for 45 minutes, then it becomes a drama about this white South African guy, David somebody or whatever. And he had to get his wife, and she was saying, oh, why do you want to help those blacks? Oh, we got to do it. And so then, it becomes the same thing. I think like Serafina was probably the only movie that didn't have a good white, a white that people could relate to and say, oh yeah, I would have been that, I would have been Lucy. I wouldn't have been those stereotypic one-dimensional cops. I mean, come on. But other than that, the lasagna was
Good evening, I'm Reverend Cindy Rice, and I'm working behind the scenes with some of these guys in putting together the production at Charles Wright Museum. And one of the purposes, really, of having this here, and it was a challenge to get this here in Detroit. These guys, well, the lead actor, the gentleman, he has performed it. This will be his 3rd time. First time was last year at the Art Museum, Ann Arbor, U of M. The playwright from San Francisco was there. Mercy Lee Jenkins saw him, asked him to also do this performance in New York. So he actually did this in Manhattan along with the previous Lucy and the other cast members, some of the other cast members. And so the challenge actually was to do this production here in Detroit because some of the venues, and I will let them remain nameless, refused to allow the production at their venues because they felt it was too controversial. So we're very excited that Charles Wright has agreed to allow this production to happen there. And the reason we're excited is because this conversation does need to take place. And so when we talked about the talkback sessions, this is a big part of it. So that's why the talkback sessions are there, and I believe you named some of the panels for some of the nights. I believe you said one of the nights is it New Detroit?
New Detroit.
Yeah.
New Detroit is one night. Saturday night, I think it's the historian
I know.
from U of M.
Okay.
But I know
Stephen
Sunday,
Ward. Stephen Ward.
Stephen Ward, and I think there's a lady that was a chair.
Oh, no, Angela Dillard is on it too.
Angela Dillard, I think it's the Saturday night. And then Sunday, I want to make sure this is very clear as well. We're going to have Reverend Dr. Charles Adams from Hartford Memorial Baptist Church on the panel. We're also going to have Reverend Dr. Kevin Turman on the panel from Second Baptist Church of Detroit. So we're looking for some very healthy discussions. And so, as these guys indicated previously, this is just a snippet. There's a lot more to this play in terms of what you're going to see, in terms of visuals that will be there, and I believe that's still going to be there for Charles Wright, is that correct? So it's going to be, this is just a flavor of it. But as Lucy, if you will, indicated, there's a lot more to this story. So certainly would encourage you all to attend, tell your friends and family. We definitely want a lot of you there as well, because it's important that this history be told and that people begin to understand it. I'm not saying it's the end of the story, but it opens up the dialogue and gets the conversation started. So that's, I think, the purpose of it. So thank you.
No, don't sit down yet. I want to ask you 2 things. I want to ask you, number one, why was this play too controversial for some venues? And one of the questions that came out of our student forum discussions online in our class was, why is it important to discuss the 1967 riot rebellion? So if you could address that, thank you.
I'm going to defer to the second question because, first of all, I'm not from Detroit. I wasn't here. And so I believe in staying in my own lane. So I think there's people here that are much better qualified than I. And this gentleman here was very active. So I think he can speak to that probably much better than I can. And in terms of why were some of the venues saying it was too controversial, honestly, I cannot answer that question because I was not working with those venues. But Kate Mendenhoff, the director, and the playwright, Mercy Lee Jenkins, conveyed that to me and to others, that they had tried to do some other venues in Detroit, and they would not do it. They wouldn't touch it.
Lily.
I would like to talk, because I'm a new professor of theater at Michigan, at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and I want to talk to this gentleman's question about the mode of presentation of the drama. I was brought from New York here to do a new program in global theater and ethnic studies that would help people to learn to use theater to intervene in community dialogues in different ways. So I want to say that a piece like this, which I thought you did very well, is like representing. It's representing a situation for an audience. But there are other ways of doing theater where you do use the theater, applied theater, to encourage dialogue with the community, where the community can respond and then put their responses to the situation back on stage. Kate asked me to come tonight because she wants me to write something about it. And yes, the piece has multimedia images, which you can't see, which will give you a different, I think, realistic feeling about what's going on the stage. But I do want to say that I want to underscore the need that this be the beginning of a dialogue. I mean, there's other writers who have written in other ways about this. I know you know Dominique, right? So she's going to be coming in, I think, to the theater program next year, writing a piece about the community again for the music, theater, and dance school, because that's the school that I'm situated in. But I've also been talking with Craig about the possibility of bringing in kind of an activist black male director to come and work with the community to try to get the stories out of the community and on stage in a way where it encourages dialogue. So I want to underscore the idea that this can be the beginning of an ongoing conversation, and I'm really grateful for Kate for opening it up, because more work needs to be done. And I just want to say that across all histories of African American experiences, right, not just Detroit, but there's a body of literature about African American experiences that this play and all of your stories could be in dialogue with. And I'm very excited to be able to try to activate that discussion. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or something you want to say?
No.
I just wanted to ask, this goes back to the comments made back here.
Can you use the microphone?
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Reverend Rice.
Reverend Rice, I just wanted to address a general issue that came up. And the question boggles me right now. You say the reason that we want to do this, bring this up, to create healthy conversations or to stimulate dialogue. And the question I would ask, when you bring up something this fire, here's what you should understand. Prior to the 67 riots in Detroit, people had a serious dream that they lived a dialogue of integration. After the riots in 1967, white people were defined, and the system was defined as an enemy system. And it's played out in our experiences. So when you talk about an honest dialogue, you have to talk about perspective, as the gentleman hit it back here. There are individuals who still continuously live and die for a dream of integration. And then there are those who believe that integration is not only undesirable, but impossible. So when we talk about what's going to be honest, we want to be certain that you can expect that there will be different positions as to what is truth and honesty on the subject of racial relationships, on treatment of black folks, racism, power and powerlessness. There are so many issues, layers of issues that will come up, and people have to be prepared to go down that black road.
And I would just add, not everyone is, right? And we've got to get them in the same room first, right?
Just know that that's going to be a wonderful, wonderful experience for some and horrific for others.
All right, what else? Left.
Here we go, it's right up to my mouth. I don't know how relevant this is or if it necessarily has anything to do with play, but every time I hear anybody mention the Algiers Motel incident, as they call it, what a name, incident.
Right.
Euphemism.
As somebody pointed out, it was like warfare. It was like the police were on a rampage, shot into the floor, shot into the walls, taking people into the individual rooms so they could terrorize the people who were outside. It was just an unimaginable, from all the details that I've read and heard, just an unimaginable thing. I'd like to talk about somebody that I admired, my mentor, I guess, who played a pivotal role in all of this. For no particular reason, I just feel like talking about him. His name was Joe Strickland. He was a reporter for the Detroit News. He may have been the first black reporter there, or he may have been the second. He was the stereotype of a reporter that you might see in one of those old movies. Hard talking, hard working, hard driving, obsessed with justice, hard drinking, everything. After this incident happened, he went to the Algiers Motel 3 different times, searching for clues, searching for information. People talked to Joe, people trusted him. So eventually he found out a few things about the incident. He found out that a soldier who just returned from Vietnam had been there while all of this was going on, but for some reason, either the police let him go or he got away. His name was Robert L. Green. Robert had left a note at the motel desk for a friend. Joe got a hold of the note. He discovered that Robert Green had, after he got away or was let go or whatever, he left Detroit, which sounds like a wise move. He had already just made it through Vietnam. He went to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which was where he was from, and he was sort of hiding out in Hopkinsville. Joe, being the kind of person that he was, followed him to Hopkinsville. He found him. He asked him what he saw and what he knew about the Algiers Motel incident. Every time I say incident, I'm like, there's gotta be a better name for it
Yeah.
than incident.
Massacre.
Massacre,
Okay, massacre.
want to murder all of them.
Okay. Anyway, other people, prosecutors and whatever, went to Hopkinsville. Green gave a sworn statement that he'd seen an officer take 2 of the victims to a room in a motel and then heard gunshots. That's not quite eyewitness, I guess it's ear witness. Anyway, as some of you who were around know, there were 2 trials. 3 of the police officers testified that they had taken 2 victims into a room, and they admitted shooting them, but they claimed it was self-defense because of the so-called sniper activity that they claimed was going on. And so in two trials, and even with that admission, nobody went to jail. Nobody was ever punished for what happened in the Algiers Motel incident. Now, I don't know if there's any connection between that and the second story I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell it because somebody needs to hear it. After all that work that Joe did, it came to naught. This was in 1967. In 1968, Joe won a Neiman Fellowship from Harvard University. And so he went to Harvard. And after his Neiman Fellowship played out, he was hired by Harvard University to do minority recruitment. 1972, this is 5 years after Algiers Motel, he was taking a shower in his apartment in the Dorchester section of Boston. Somebody walked into the room. How they got in, no one knows, and walked into the shower and shot him in the head. He fell into the tub, and they found him, the tub was full of blood. That murder was not solved either. I have no idea if there was a connection between the 2 events or what the connection should have been, but I'm haunted by these 2 things, and I just felt like talking about it. Thank you.
Okay, well, how are we doing for time, Greg?
We're good, yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay. Well, come on, talk up, people.
I was, so in order to play those characters, you have to go deep, right? You have to go to those places where it's not comfortable. You can't just say, oh, I feel like, it's felt sort of bad doing it. You have to investigate that part of yourself. It can really let you do that work. It's not the kind of work you can see from your response, right? It's not the kind of work you can do superficially and then expect people to say it's great. Because it's not about me.
Yeah, I want to say that I think I speak for the whole cast, and we really appreciate hearing this, because this, at least for me, it sort of hit just now, because I grew up in Ann Arbor. I'm not the most, I don't have the most diverse background, and that's something that I'm not proud of. It's not like, oh, I'm not diverse. That's not something I'm excited about. But here, doing this play, and then coming here and doing it for all of you, and hearing you speak, and people who have been there, and I read the book, but because I had literally no experience of what it actually was like, or no concept of that kind of what that would be, that it was, I've been perfectly fine calling it the Algiers Motel incident. That was, that's what it's called, great. But now it's just sort of hearing all this, it just really hit, and I gotta be honest, I was not going deep into that feeling of, and now it's, I don't know that it's going to be easier to get deep into the hatred that's behind it, that's underlaying my character, the National Guardsman, that, just, so I will try, I will try, I hear what you're saying.
So that is like, all of us have hatred in us too, right?
Yeah, but,
So going to that place.
yeah, no, so, no, it's just, now that it has been brought to such a real, there are people in this room that were there and were part of it, that hits really hard. And so now I think it might be even harder to get on the other side of it, trying to represent the sort of evil.
Portray,
Yeah.
not represent.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, you know, we'll do our best to make it come through, but.
I'm gonna see it there on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank you all for.
I just want to challenge all of the students here to really dig deeper into the history of this country, which includes the history of African Americans in this country. You know, like so much of that history is not told and not understood and not required. It's treated like it's some kind of parallel universe. This happened over here, Harriet Tubman was over here, and all the white people were over here. And there's a lot of history that we all need to have a much deeper understanding of, to understand why we are, where we are, what we are. So I challenge, you know, Sylvester, Detroit, and all that. It's wonderful. There's so much you could read from now on and still never finish learning it all. And I really hope that those of you who want to make a difference will challenge yourself to do that.
Thank you. Speaking as an elder who was around that time, I was a child, mostly under the bed. We were under the bed. This neighborhood was burning, and it was very scary. But the reason I would like to bring this, like, fast forward to today, fast forward to 2013. And if you look at the state of things in Detroit now, everything is so completely informed by race. Everything is so informed by race. I've grown up in Detroit my whole life and been involved my whole life. Then I got elected to the school board in 2010. And until that time, I didn't know what racism was. I didn't know how much white people hate black people until I got elected to the Detroit school board. And I say that to say that the history of many people has been silenced, but daily voices are silenced. And I want you to know that Detroit did not elect Mr. Duggan. We did not ask for an emergency manager. And we did not ask across Michigan for every single black city to be under an emergency manager and not have the right to vote. Every single thing that is happening today was informed by race. And the fact that we can't talk about it and can't get it in the media and can't get it in the press, and if you talk about it, you are either so marginalized or become a pariah that it's just simply not comfortable. And it's best to not provide the venue. No matter how innocuous theater may be, it's very telling that you can't get a venue. And this is really very important. People are being displaced from Detroit. People are being evicted from their apartments. People are being moved out. People are disenfranchised and silenced. And things are not better. Things are not better all this time later. But I don't want to say that to discourage you. I want to say that to encourage you. To question every single thing. Question every report, every narrative. And come up with the counter-narrative, because for every story, there's a counter-story. Great work, you do.
Thank you so much for that. For every story, there's a counter-story. That's what's been going through my head when I listen to you name the people who are going to be on the various panels. Those are all institutions that have vested interest in things going a certain way. There's an academia, that's clergy, but there is not that counter perspective of those activists and those community people who were there, who who had friends, you know, who lived in the neighborhoods and what have you. And that's an observation that I've made about the series as a whole. Because even when we talk about, is there really a future for every neighborhood? The people who worked in those neighborhoods weren't invited. There were leadership over nonprofits that were here telling the story, but the people who were on the ground who lived in those neighborhoods, in fact, for one, they weren't even told about it, although their picture was used as promotion for it. Okay, so that continues to be a concern of mine because I think the students are due and have the right to hear that counter perspective and not just those institutionalized perspectives, because those institutionalized perspectives have a vested interest in things going a certain way.
Thank you for that, and I'd like to respond to that. If you can give me some names of some folks that are willing to be on the panel, please write them down with the number, and we would invite that. And I thank you for that. And trust me, I've been with the planning on this. That was certainly not intentional, but I'm glad you raised it tonight. I'm glad I'm here tonight, and I think we can accommodate that. Amen? Amen. Whoever needs to be here. Put down about 2 names, 2 or 3 names, because we've got 2 on the panel, and if we can get 2 more counter voices, that would be wonderful.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I just want to redirect this question back to the actors here. So what am I trying to say? So I started thinking about reading Huck Finn in like high school, okay? And when people say the N-word, you know, some people just don't say it. Some people feel really uncomfortable, and like whenever it's said, there's always like this shock factor in the room, and we never really ask like why, why are we uncomfortable with saying the word or whatever. And earlier, I'm sorry, she asked a question on how like I forgot the exact question, but she kind of asked what it felt like to be in a position of power for the 2 white men who acted. And one of the one on my part left was like, well, it's theater, so it felt like okay to say the N-word, okay. And then what was I gonna say? When I'm reading Huck Finn and I'm in a classroom, I just say the N-word, and my response is, well, it's 19th century literature, and I'm just gonna say it. And that's kind of like what your response was. It's theater, so I'm just going to say it. But when the second person was asked in the middle, it kind of sounded like there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sounded like there was just, you had some sort of discomfort with acting like you were in a position of power. And, oh, what does it feel like for you to pretend to treat a black person that way? What does it feel like to pretend to, not pretend to say the N-word, but you did say the N-word to the black gentleman on the far right. So what I'm getting at is, why do we ask what it feels like for the white men I was getting this feeling like, oh, I kind of feel bad for the white people that they have to pretend to act the way they do.
We signed up for this class.
I understand, but, okay, so what I'm trying to get at is, why don't we ask the black gentleman, what does it feel like to be to act as a subjugated character in theater? Because we ask the white people, what does it feel like to be in a position of power, but we don't ask the black man how does it feel to pretend to be,
Well, I did. I asked him what it felt like to try to recreate this role and what he had to bring up.
Okay, so but I guess what I'm getting at is,
Well, it feels oppressive. It feels racist. So that's kind of what So it gives me what I need for that scene.
okay, I was just asking because it just sounded like your voice just got drowned out a bit in that conversation. Because I was like, oh, it just sounded like they. I don't know, I guess
I understand.
what I'm saying, but.
I tried to, I think she did talk about that a little earlier. But yeah, it's just, when you're fit, when you're there, it's a taste, like I'm not gonna get shot, but it's a taste, and I can feel it in my body, being called a nigger and like all that, you feel that. So yeah, it feels oppressive, it feels racist, which, the situation is, but it doesn't feel completely different than some of the things that I go through.
Hey, so I'm a semester in Detroit student. And the other day we were at the Charles H. Wright Museum. We were talking to a woman who had lived in the Brewster Douglas projects her whole life. Is this on my list?
You have to put it up to you.
Oh yeah. And she said that this time period now she feels like is the most hateful time period that she's lived in her life, even back in the 1940s when, pre-civil rights era. And that kind of stuck with me because, in my view, I didn't grow up in the 1960s, so, but I feel like this new form of racism that exists today is almost in many ways more dangerous than what they had back then because we can pretend like it's not there because it's more economic, like the wealth is concentrated, a few people and it's not spread. And so there are these people that are kind of held down. So I'm just wondering for the older people in the audience, if you'd agree with me on that or how we can, as the youth who, don't really feel like we have a lot of power to do anything about that, what we can do.
Well, this gentleman here wanted to speak, but I wanted to make sure that we heard from our students, because oftentimes you can't get them to open their mouth when they're in here.
Yes.
And then you can go next.
Yeah, I just want to say I was like 14, and one of the most shocking things is when I looked out of my front window and on a residential street and I saw troop carriers with fixed bayonets. And I saw right up Dexter, tanks going right by my street. And I really hadn't paid any attention to the black nationalist rhetoric that I heard about. The black community is a community under siege, and that the police are an occupation force, and that this is really, they call it a ghetto, but it's really a big detention center. And, I really didn't believe that till I saw the tanks running down the street. My high school, Northwestern High School, where we practice football, they set that up as a
Command center?
Yeah, like a military base, and they had tanks, and then on Rosa Parks they had National Guards on like every corner with fixed bayonets. Why you just might be wanting to go get a Spider-Man comic book, which is what I want to do. And these people are standing there with like guns. I mean, and you had these National Guardsmen who were like young, and once it got dark, because like one night they said that there was no curfew, then they changed their mind. So a lot of people didn't even know. And my brother, my two oldest brothers, they were in this car, and the national, like this fool during a curfew is gonna stop at a red light. So the National Guard, because the whole thing was sniper, which just like if I walk into a mall and, Somerset, they're not gonna say sniper, they're gonna say thief. So at that point, everybody was a sniper. So they stopped, and the National Guard shot into the car and shot the driver in his hip, and we heard on the radio, 3 snipers in a such and such vehicle. And I was like, damn, that sounds like my 2 brothers and whatever. And then we come home, and here's a guy with the bullet hole in him, and so it's really strange. Then you don't feel like that you're a citizen of the United States of America, and then you realize that for real, these people are not playing, and they will kill you for real. And so, like, there's a difference between what happened in 1943, which was a race riot. Here, there's another undercurrent that people don't really want to talk about, was the relationship that the black community had with the Jewish merchants. And that was definitely one of the major factors, was that just like now, all the Arabs own all of the stuff, where when I was growing up, all the Jews earned all of the stuff. So like when people say, well, what's your thing about the Palestinian Jewish? I'm like, well, one of them owned everything when I was growing up. And now the other group own everything now that I'm an adult. And you want me to take sides? All I really can say is that at least when the Jews owned everything, at least they tried to pretend like they liked you. And pretend like, you know, because they're entrepreneurs. But these goddamn Arabs, pardon me, I shouldn't say that. But these Arabs, they don't even pretend like they like me. And like they'll shoot your ass down over a bag of potato chips. You know, so it ain't no joke. But I'm just saying, at like 14, seeing tanks, seeing your high school taken over, seeing people being shot for like absolutely no reason whatsoever, except for that people were scared.
I wanted to specifically address what the young man before the last speaker said about racism now being economic. When they packed Africans into the holds of ships, racism was economic. When they forced Africans to work to cut cane and grow cotton, racism was economic. When emancipation occurred and we became sharecroppers because we had nothing to take away from the plantation with us, racism was economic. During the civil rights movement, the civil rights period, when black people were paid a fraction of what white people were paid to do the same work, if they could get work at all, racism was economic. So there's nothing new about racism being economic. We have to be really careful with our analysis of what things are. Racism has always been economic.
We have someone here. Okay.
Thank you for sharing that part of it. I think also though what I might be around what you're trying to get at is just the sense that like because you know it's less socially accepted to be overtly racist.
Well, but white men can shoot black boys in cars because their radio is too loud and then get acquitted because there's no proof.
What we kind of touched on in last time in class too was like kind of the issue with social media and how it's kind of takes a less personal form, and then it's easier to appear on the surface as if you aren't being racist, but that they're without doing the work internally. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just like keep asking you questions, but I guess I do really understand your point of saying that it's always been economic, but it does, I mean, once again, I also didn't live in the 60s, but I feel like the way that racism is viewed in the society has morphed and changed and evolved in a lot of ways, and I guess I was just interested even though you said that it's kind of all been economic, do you feel like there is a certain sense that it's evolved in some way, or that it's kind of the same beast with a different head or something?
It's a good question.
You know, I work at the University of Michigan and I live in Detroit. And I live in Detroit because I need to get away from the University of Michigan. You know, at 5:30. You know, because there is an undercurrent always. I had a boss tell me one time after several years that she really didn't expect me to be as good at my job as I was because I was black. She acknowledged, and she was being a liberal by saying it, she acknowledged that she expected less from white people. At University of Michigan, that's supposed to be so, you know, we talk about this. But the fact of the matter is that while I do hold a job in a, quote, diverse place, I resent the notion that my life is improved by being around white people. My children will be better educated if they're sitting next to white children. My children will be better educated if they put a good school in my neighborhood. I don't care who's sitting next to them. So, you know, there's just so many assumptions about what mixing with other people will bring me. And I'm not against people being in the same room and working together and smiling and sharing fried chicken or whatever they want. You know, don't get me wrong. Don't even say that woman just wants to be on, you know, that's not the point. But the point is that if everyone was truly given equal opportunities, then none of this would matter. Because we can all make our own choices. So many of the choices are made for us based on, you know, somebody told me, I don't know if this is true, but in the new privatized prison system, they base the number of beds on how many eighth grade black boys there are this year. True. You know, so, you know, we have a system that is designed never to share anything. Ironically, the people who have it all didn't have any of it at the beginning. They just knew how to go take it from other folks. And that, you know, I remain angry constantly about that. That doesn't mean I don't like some white people, and I don't have white friends and white neighbors, but just the whole system and the way it's been designed to make certain that certain people always benefit, and certain people, if they can manage to get 4 crumbs or something, good for them, but if not, it's their fault. You know, because poverty is our own fault. That's, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I answered mine.
Well, I don't know my 2 cents in, but it strikes me that we are going back to, I mean, we are being pushed back and back and back. Not that we ever made such great strides in this nation in terms of race relations. But what is stand your ground? What is the voting, the attack on voting rights, and so many other attacks that are rabid, as far as I'm concerned, and they end up just as slavery and just as Jim Crow and all of the other economic usages of racism end up attacking a wide swath of people, not just people of color. So it holds back everyone except for very few that are making money hand over fist on this whole deal. And they're at astronomical levels right now. We've got to get it together, that's all I can say.
Can I have time to say it, make a quick comment? So I just wanted to say something. We're talking a lot about racism, and earlier we were talking about having an honest dialogue, and this man here said that may be nearly impossible. One thing, I'm going to name drop some books, so like you guys are going to just look at me funny, but in the book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Paulo Freire talks about that, the idea that people who, he uses the terms the oppressed and the oppressor. The oppressed and the oppressor can never have a dialogue because the oppressor is the one who wants to have the dialogue. And until the oppressed decides that it is them who want to talk and them who want to have the conversation, no real progress can be made. I don't think that there's been progress. I mean, in the case with Davis and the case with Trayvon Martin, we are seeing racism is very real. And people are still getting shot just because people are scared, because they feel scared. Not even because there's a real threat, but because they feel threatened.
Well, they say they were scared.
Right. So, but that's what I really want to ask to the room if we have the time to talk about it really briefly, just or just to think about what can we do to try and have a dialogue as the oppressor and the oppressed. What can we do? But the system is the oppressor. It is institutional. It is something that is part of what we grow up with. It is a part of what we live in, and to consciously address that system every day, to constantly be an act of rebellion, is the only way I see that someone can deal with that system. How do you all feel we can deal with the institutional oppression and racism that still exists in this country?
Well, I mean, recognizing white privilege is one thing, but like you said, she's not the oppressor. But for sure, I mean, this is part of the dialogue. I think we're still in a period of incredible education, because so much of our history and so much of how they got to be where they're at and why we're here, it gets lost. It's not taught in the schools, and these kinds of discussions don't go on.
There's so much of what goes on in America in terms of dialogue, politics, race. It's so convoluted, it's hard to be rational. Okay? One thing that makes it clear is who has power and who doesn't. Who controls the institutions and who is at the beck and call. It's harder for you to understand where black people sit, because the institutions that oppress us, even though you may empathize, they serve your interests.
What a time.
Yeah,
That's the point.
Well,
That's the point.
if you support the institutions, they will support your organization. So it's difficult to have dialogue about race without talking about power. If you don't talk about power, then you really skirt the whole issue. Individuals can be racist because I just don't like black people, or I just don't like white people. They may have different motivations, but the issue boils down to who controls the resources, who has power. And people talk about the incidences of blind rage incidents where blacks kill whites and whites kill blacks. That's been going on forever, but what people have to realize, what we learned from the 60s and 70s, that there is always a blood that is always seething, is never going to be out front. And black people will not sit back and allow black babies to continue to be killed and destroyed at no cost. There are too many men and women who believe differently. So there really does have to be a dialogue, because the issue now becomes, will there be a racial war in America? Nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants you to confront that. This is the world that we all live in, but this world right here is vulnerable. And this dialogue that we're having, you don't want to border on fantasy, because the real issue is that people will live and die on these issues. And race is really just a color. We talk about race, that really is not the issue. People know how to get along and talk, or they don't. But when people's livelihood is threatened, when you come into my house or my backyard and shoot my dog, you shoot my dog, that's like killing my kid, right? I'm not going to just, like blind rage and just go after you. I'm going to go after what made you do that. That's the world we live in now. We live in a world where we got terrorists in America who are terrorizing the black community. All that means is, what do you expect to happen? So that means that this is the country we live in. When does it end? Does it end at all?
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up with that. Very last comment you want to make?
I guess just to tie it back to
Focus.
someone, I don't know where I want to what am I meant to say?
Use the
Oh,
mic.
talking
Use the
about,
mic.
what?
Mike.
Someone was mentioning or asking how they think racism exists today and how that differs from the 60s, which differs from the 40s, et cetera, et cetera. And I guess my own personal comment on that is that it's always just shaping form and trying to hide itself. And venues like this, where we can, I don't know, venues where we're talking about this, where we have a play that then we can talk about as a way to get out in the forefront. And back, I guess, to the first question that was asked, I guess something about this play that was fucked up, that it was refreshing, was the fact that language was being used outright and bringing racism to the surface when we live in a world where it's always trying to hide and everyone's trying to say it's not racism, it's something else. So, I don't know.
Very good. Listen, let me just remind you, on the back, on the table here, we have these little flyers that will serve as reminders for next week's full performances of Spirit of Detroit. And I think that's it. Let's give our cast